What is going on? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Fairfax, Virginia and Penderbrook Golf Club. This is going to be the Thursday night FXA Golf League competitive division, and so really excited to bring you the match. Before we go any further, you see the button. Go ahead and find that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me if you could take 3 seconds, click on it. If you like golf content, if you're from the DMV area, if you like golf and are from the DMV area, you have no reason not to subscribe. Hopefully I can bring you good content. But today we have a really exciting match. So this is my buddy Al, and behind him is my buddy Marshall. We are playing them two, and unfortunately it kind of stinks. So my original partner, her name is Katie, hence the name MarKatie that you saw in the thumbnail and title. But me and Katie are the original OGs. We're the two partners. She was actually out of town. Funny enough, we're all friends, and so of course she's out of town for the match. So you can see my buddy here, Sean, filling in. We all know each other, so this is just another day for us, but obviously we're all competitive. We want to play, we want to do well. So for anyone that's wondering how FXA's Golf League works, it's going to be a 9-hole, 2-person scramble match. So it's you take a ball, you play the best one, and so on and so forth from there. It's match play, so it will be, winning holes, but the one small quirky thing just to keep in mind is they actually track the number of holes that you win. So for example, if a match is over, let's say 4-3, you still want to play out those holes because there's a point differential system. So even though the match is over, you're still incentivized to try and win holes, if that makes sense. But anyway, going back to the match here, not a good start. Just to be clear, Al's went OB, Marshall's went OB. Yikes, there goes Sean. There's a lot of pressure on this tee shot. And just to be clear, one of the things I hate about Penderbrook, a lot of love for it. I grew up playing this all the time. One of the things, oh yeah, look at that swing. No big deal. That was like a 3/4 check swing. I'm lucky if that drive went like 230. That was just a fairway finder. Oh, the cringy Kobe pose. Oh, cringy. Mark, get a life, dude. Anyway, like I was saying, the one thing that I hate about Penderbrook, and I think anyone who's played it can probably attest to this, there's no driving range, no warm-up area. We are not counting that net with 3 mats. That's just stupid. All they have is a really small putting green. That's it. So everyone always complains because you're basically just thrown into the deep end when, the match starts. You don't have a place to get warm, get loose, and so anyway, just some food for thought as we all have a really rough start there. But this is why match play is really fun. So you can see my buddy Al, he just takes, I don't know, like a 7-iron, punches it in play, and then even though this looks like a bad swing for my friend Marshall, he's incentivized to try and go for it. So you can see that's the pin over the trees. He didn't quite make it, but that's where match play gets interesting. So if someone's not playing well, or maybe a putt goes super past, it's very strategic to have someone maybe get it close and lay up and someone be aggressive, so on and so forth. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of that today, where maybe certain shots will be uncharacteristic of, just how we play, but that's match play in a nutshell, especially a scramble. So back to the match itself. This is, to be clear, because I think you saw on the ticker earlier on that this was hole 1. So to be clear, it's a shotgun start. This is actually hole 4. It's the par 5. Everyone that plays Penderbrook probably knows this hole just sucks. It absolutely is the worst. It's one of the tightest fairways you can hit, especially when you're not warm or loose. You just get thrown into the gauntlet. If anyone's smarter than me, you'd probably want like a super safe 200-yard club, maybe a driving iron off that tee. It's a tricky one, but when it's a scramble, why not send it? So par 5 to start. I've only seen like one person in my life. So Chris, if you're watching this, I saw Chris go driver 6-iron over the trees, reach this in 2. I would say the normal weekend warrior like us, you are playing this as a true 3-shotter, where you probably just want a good drive, a good approach to about 100 yards, and then the approach shot's actually pretty tricky. So it's an elevated green. I still don't have slope in my rangefinder. I really need to figure that out. I'm not going to blame that approach shot being short on that, but we're also going to blame it on that, because why not? Can't be me. I'm perfect. I have the best ball striking in the world, so obviously it's the equipment. But this is where you can see where, this is what I was talking about earlier. My buddy Marshall blasts that ball by. There's no reason to leave it short if my friend Al is pretty much in, kind of tap-in range. I think that's like 3 feet. So that's just a really basic strategy where one person tries to get one close, second putter always wants to go for it, but that's going to win it for us. An unfortunate drop for them. I don't know if it was clear. They had to drop after that first tee shot, so we win with a par to a bogey. On to hole 2, which is actually hole 5 of Penderbrook. It's a shorter par 3. I won't use the word shorter, but it's a par 3. 181 yards. This one always gives me trouble. I don't know why. I don't know. It's actually not that tricky of a hole. It's fairly open left. It's very open right, 'cause that's another tee box and fairway. I think I've, I got lucky this held on. I technically hit the green, but this hole always gives me trouble. A par here is very, very good in my opinion, even though it's nothing crazy. They've actually made this course, so shout out to Penderbrook as well. They've actually, they've done a lot of work with the course. For people that have maybe played it years ago and haven't played it since, they've done a lot of work with removing bunkers, removing random tall grass and native areas. It's just a really good job overall. The greens have gotten better, although this was not the best week for the greens. I try to give a lot of golf courses a pass at this time of the year. This was filmed, just to be clear, around summer. I think this was August of 2024. It's always tough for golf courses because we have that super hot stretch. So you're going to see greens, cut a little bit longer than they should be. Fairways are looking kind of dead. So I always try to give them a pass. Penderbrook most of the time has pretty good greens. It has been a little bit on the slower, kind of higher cut side, probably the past few weeks that we've played. But again, give them a pass. Usually they're actually known for their greens. I think they're usually pretty smooth, fly pretty well. But anyway, back to the match. You'll notice that they flared one out. That's Serenity now, the team we're playing. They flared one out to the right. Unfortunately, mishit one, and then this is their chip back on to hopefully get it close and get up and down for bogey. I put one on the far right side of the green. You're going to see in a moment. It's not exactly a gimme by any stretch, but I think we can two-putt this to pretty much win the hole. So here's the birdie. If I had to guess, this is probably like a 35 to 40 footer from the right side. So here's my buddy Sean, and again, this is basic strategy. He puts one to about 5-6 feet. He left it a little short, but I don't blame him. After the hole, it gets fast. So I decided to kind of go for it, no reason not to. And here's the funny part. I actually hit that what I thought would have been 5 feet past, and it's still short. It's going to look good on camera because that's pretty much to a foot in gimme range. But yeah, the greens were tricky. I don't know if you saw when I quickly panned over it. There was still like signs of punch greens there. On to hole 3 of our match, which is actually hole 6 of Penderbrook, and we're currently 2 up. So 2 up through 2. It's a very good position to be in, and unfortunately, this is just a tough start for them. So my 2 buddies, they're better than bogey golf. That was just a rough start. And for those that are maybe using this as a scout, like, hey, I'm thinking about signing up for the league. I don't know which division to be in. Just kind of my food for thought now that I've played this 3-4 seasons now. And I did switch days. I think you can see that we made the championship in our other league, and I have that on my channel. We got absolutely wrecked. We got wrecked. But here's just kind of my general thoughts on the league, and if you're thinking about signing up, where you should go. So we're in the competitive division, which is the top of the top. I would probably say if you can shoot even par or better as a scramble team, then you can hang here. In my personal opinion, most scores are between +1 to -1. If you're shooting under par, anywhere from like 1 to 3 under, you're most likely going to win, for that week. I've seen some teams, and you can see in my former video of the FXA championship, I think they shot, 7 under? They shot a 29. That's just insane. I think the lowest score that I've seen. So there are some very, very good teams out there, but if you can shoot even par or better, you should definitely sign up for this. I don't really have a scout around the tier below, and then I think the casual and social leagues. I don't know what those run. I'd have to imagine that if you're somewhere between even par to 3 over, you're probably going to be completely fine in the casual league. And I think there's like a social league where if you're just trying to get into golf, you're trying to have a good time, and you want to learn the game, you probably want to sign up for that league. And hey, but anyway, yeah, there's my pitch. Everyone should go sign up for a golf league. There's nothing better than competitive golf. Even if you're getting into golf, it's just so much fun. And what a dart by my buddy Al. What an absolute shot. Right. So you can see that this is for birdie and to win hole. I had a few hiccups with the camera today. It's hard playing a match and trying to film, and play. But my buddy Sean and I, we end up going in for pars. So this is a birdie putt to win the hole. I think my approach shot was used where I was pretty much on the fringe, and I think we just end up 2-putting from there. This is Al's shot you saw a moment ago. Really, really good shot. That's a dart to about 6-ish feet, and oh yeah, the slow drip in. What a bird. That is going to make this a match. We're back to 1 up, so really, really good good hole from them. They have now won the tee box back. Wow. unbelievable. I want this box back. So on to the next hole, hole 4, which is hole 7 of Penderbrook naturally. This is another one of those, I made a comment how narrow and tight this course is. All left is OB, as you can see with the trees. Right is going to be, even though it looks open, there's like a big native area tall grass section there, and then there's also a bunch of trees to the right. Your second shot brings in some water to the right, and then the tree line is all OB, which covers. It's a long-winded way of saying, even though this looks like an open shot, you really need to hit the fairway. Even if you hit it left or pull it a little left, you can see you get blocked out by the trees. My buddy Sean hits a really good one there, and if he had about maybe 10-ish extra yards, there's actually like a downslope speed slot you can catch. So I've seen a couple very long hitters. If you can reach that area, you probably get a free 10 to 15 yards, if not a little bit more. The only downside is you might be in a really weird lie for your second shot. So as a non-long hitter, I'm always playing this as a 3-shotter. So you can see here where we end up in the rough, but you can see how it kind of drops off a cliff about 10, 15 yards in front of us. So if you can catch that slot, just good luck to you, and you're probably going for it in 2 no matter what. But we have about 260 in, and this is a good example of my buddy Sean puts us in play with a very, very good one. This is me. I mean, it might not look that out of control, but that's as hard and as fast as I can hit a club. I get this pretty close. So this 3 hybrid, just for context, my 3 hybrid, I use it anywhere from about 210 to 230. God, not the Kobe. That's so Mark, dude. You're such a loser, man. Seriously. And also, just to clear the air, because you all are probably wondering, why the hell do you have a basketball jersey on in the golf match? This was taken a few days after USA Basketball beat France in the gold medal game during the Olympics. So obviously I had to rep USA Basketball, show my pride. And, for anyone, just on a quick side tangent here, anyone who watched that game, Steph Curry, God, is that the greatest Olympic performance that I've ever seen? It might be one of the best basketball games I've ever seen. Chef Curry, my God. When he's in heat check mode, there's nothing, not a lot of things are better than that. But anyway, back to the golf match, because I could go down a rant for forever. I'm really happy with this shot that you're about to see. Obviously, I'm going to be happy because it gets pretty close, but I learned pretty quickly that because of the punch greens and the weird conditions, the ball isn't really checking, spinning, and being receptive, so you have to start playing it for just the full rollout. So what I mean by that is, take a look at this. That ball that Marshall just hit, my friend right there, that was a really good ball, and I could see it spin. It just didn't bite and didn't check. That's what you get for these conditions. I should have zoomed in on the green itself. Like, all of them are just really bad condition. And again, they were just punched within the last maybe 3 to 5 days, so I can't be that hard on them. But it's just, you kind of got to adapt to how the course is playing. And so bump and runs, Texas wedges are not crazy when the greens are like this. Anyway, we're all square right now in the sense of both hitting for birdie. So here's their birdie putt off on the fringe, and that's a really good roll. I think they both do a good job of just knowing that this is a borderline must make. You got to assume that when there's like a 3-4 footer with 2 of us, that we're going to make it. So I think that Alan Marshall did a really good job here. Again, you can see Al kind of blasted that by, but you have to get it to the pin. So here we are. This is 4 birdie and 2 win the hole. We got about a 3.5 footer. Oh no. You really hate to see it. You really do. The worst part was it hit like a random hole, and it just kind of took an exit ramp to the right. I decided to just put a lot of pace, ram it down there, and we end up making the birdie. So we got a birdie to go back to 2 up with about 5 to play. So we're in a very good spot. We just got to hold on. This is a hole that gives me and a lot of people trouble. So one of the things I absolutely love about Penderbrook, and some people might not, I love the fact that you don't need driver every single hole. One of the courses that comes to mind is like Algonquian Golf Course. That to me is like driver iron, driver wedge, driver iron. It's just the same hole over and over. I really commend Penderbrook for having these quirky, interesting holes. Hole 11's another one that sticks out to me for those that know this course. The dog leg left 90 degrees where you just need like a 5 iron to put it in play. So I love holes that make you think, make you lay up, distances and everything. But with all that being said, this is a tricky hole if you don't hit a good tee shot. So luckily, I do put one right in the middle of the fairway. My buddy Sean blasts, I think like his 5 wood to a really good spot. The only downside is I think we're in the right rough with his. Unfortunately, my buddy Al went out of bounds, and I think Marshall also went into this tall stuff here. So we couldn't find Al's, and by we, they couldn't find Al's. So they end up taking Marshall's, which is right in front of the tee box. They have about 210 in. If it's not clear with all that water right there, this is what I was talking about, where you have to think about it. If you're a very, very, very long hitter, I think you can reach the green. Funny enough, my buddy Marshall, I think one of the weeks, just for fun, he took a ball and tried to send it, and I think he reached that bunker on the left with driver off the tee. It's obviously a high-risk, high-reward shot, but back to the match, as I was mentioning, we somehow mess up, and I don't have the footage of mine. I end up kind of hitting it super long, so we're in the back rough here, which you'll see in a second. Here's the third shot from Marshall and Al. This is a extremely difficult shot. So that shot Al just hit, this is an even more incredible shot. The fact that Marshall got a club on that without a real backswing, downhill lie, I mean, that was a really, really good shot. Here's where my ball ended up. We also have a tough one where, look at our feet. You can see it's kind of like ball sloping down. The cool part about scrambles is you can lift, clean, lift, clean, replace. But, you're able to get kind of a really good preferred lie because you can, put a marker down and have your ball. So luckily I was able to take a club length to make sure that my ball was not on a downhill slope and I found a flatter part. But regardless, that was just a really, really delicate kind of baby flop shot that I was happy it even stayed on the green. So here we go. We now have their putt for par. Marshall ends up leaving it a little bit short, and then we have my buddy Al. I think he's taking a wedge here, and I don't blame him for trying to fly because of how crazy the greens have been. He hits it to about the same spot, so leaves them with like a 5-ish footer. This becomes a really, really big putt. So if we can make this par to win the hole, oh, I love it. This would put us in a really, really good spot. So Sean went for it. I don't blame him. I love having 2 looks at the hole as long as the second person, Justin, makes it. Let's go. So really, really good putt there. We end up parring. We win the hole. So we are 3 up with 4 to play. We're in a very, very good spot. So here's the tee box. And this is one of the coolest tee shots when the weather's good, conditions are right. It sucks the tee box looks like an absolute joke right now, but here's a good example of being out of control and uncharacteristic. So my buddy Sean hits a very, very good one. Pretty far, it's deep, it's in play. So this is me trying to swing for the fence. It might not look like it. I tried to put so much heat on that. I tried to put so much, I kind of just top shank it right into the water. So this is where like scrambles, and a lot of people can probably attest to this. Once your buddy's in play, it's like goodbye golf ball. You might as well pick a golf ball you don't care about because you know you're trying to launch it into outer space. It is what it is, and you got to live with it. But I think my buddy Marshall hits a decent one. I think he stayed in play if I remember correctly. And then Al, this is my friend Al, he just hits a baby tight draw right down the middle. So we got ourselves a hole. So this becomes a borderline must-win for them as they're down 3 with 4 to play. So if Sean and I can actually stick the green and get one close, then we'd be pretty happy. So the first shot, Sean hits one really, really good. Probably one of his purest strikes of the day, but he hits it pretty long. This approach shot's really tricky. So a good example of knowing the course, I know for a fact when the pin is in the front, because it's a 2-tier green, when the pin's in the front, you want to miss short. You'd rather be on the fairway or fringe putting up versus on the back top tier putting down. That becomes, you basically de-green. Now, if the flag's in the back or the top tier, that's a different story, but because the pin is where it is, I decided to play it a little short, and I played it too short. So we're going to have a putt at it, as you can see right here. But and by the way, I missed my buddy Al's approach shot again, just missing shots left and right. But you can see we have a putt up at this, and a good example of why you don't want to miss long or too long when the pin's here. You're going to see in a moment with Al and Marshall's putt, it becomes like a really, really difficult putt. So I decided, as you can see, I blast it by. So I blasted to like 5 feet past, but you got to go for it. And then Marshall and Al, they're lucky where they didn't catch too much of the slope, but you can see how they played it perfectly, in my opinion, because the greens were just really bizarre, punched and not going fast. That ball barely went anywhere. But this is a big breaker because they're pretty much in the middle of the slope of the green, and yeah, look at that. So that was for birdie to win hole. So now we gave them that putt. So we now need to make this to have the hole a really, really big half to put them at Dormy, and we do it. Nice putt, Sean. So we're officially, they are officially Dormy. We are 3 up with 3 to play. Let's go ahead and try and close this out. We just need to hang on. Let's not try and get crazy. Just play par golf. And, of course, we're going to start launching. Look at that bomb. I remember Sean hit this, and I was like, whoa, I went really, really far. The only downside is I think it rolled into the rough a little bit, but he clocked it really good. This is hole 1 now of Penderbrook, and you want to ideally hit the fairway. I know you could say that about every hole. No big deal, just did. But if you hit to the far right side, there's native tall grass land and area. There's 2 random trees that get in your way. However, if you do go right, in fairness to Marshall here, he goes so far right that you're just on the fairway of hole 7, that par 5 we played a moment ago. So it's actually not crazy. You're going to see they actually play it from Marshall's ball as Al kind of hooks it to the left. They're going to play it from Marshall's ball on the other fairway. I unfortunately don't get their shots in. I forgot who hit it, but one of them hit a miraculous shot over the trees, and they do end up hitting the green in just a moment, which you'll see. So we're in the driver's seat here. 138, we can pretty much close out the match if we can just stick the green and put ourselves in a really good spot. And I hit a very, very good shot. I was about to walk that in, and then it just fell 10 yards short. It's on the fringe. I was like, oh, great. I played 9-iron into about a 140 pin, and yeah, I don't know how I left it short. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and putt this. You can see we're on the fringe. I personally think based on where they are, I told you I missed their shots. If we can just 2-putt for par, I think we're in a very, very good spot. So there's Sean's. He puts it pretty close to about 3-4 feet. And here's where that uncharacteristic, you got to understand my mindset here. We want to go for the jugular, win the match right there. That'll win the match, and so we blast it by. But it's okay. Like we talked about, that happened. So here's the first putt, and just to be clear again, I missed their approach shots. So the fact they even made the green from the other fairway, even though this is like a 60-footer, I think it was an incredible, incredible shot. But Al's putt and their putt both blast by. I don't blame them either. So now they're like, we need to win this hole. Let's just get 2 looks at it. I'm always a big fan, too, in general. Just why not go for it and hit it past? Worry about the next putt on the way back. And, oh, man. I think when we were watching that, it, hit a hole, stopped, and went backwards a little bit. This becomes an absolute must-make. Can he do it? What a putt. What a putt. The pressure is on. So this is absolutely not a gimme for Sean and I. This is still a good 4.5 feet. So in no ways is this just an automatic putt. And look at that. You see his ball go backwards? That's just comical. These greens are ridiculous. So he puts that in, and you know what? We have nothing to lose. We're just going to go at it with good pace, and there we go. So that was officially to win the match, 3-2. So really, really good match. Had a blast. Obviously, these are 2 of my boys. Well, 3 of them, including Sean, but we're playing against 2 of my boys. So nothing but love. We obviously decided to play the last 2, and plus you should anyway. If you remember my comments earlier, because every point and every hole matters. Even though the match is over, if Al and Marshall win the next 2, then the score would say 3-2 in terms of we won 3 holes, they won 2 holes, or whatever the score is. I don't know if it's 3-2, but anyway, that sounds complicated. You want to play these out. I only mention that because the very first season, the very first time we played after the match was over, my partner and I just said, F it, we don't care, and we kind of just messed around. And then when I realized point differential actually matters, it's like, oh, well, that was stupid. So again, we're going to play this out. This is actually a really cool hole where it's a super short hole, OB all right in houses, left you're back on the first fairway, and if you hit it too long, so yes, for super long hitters, you don't want to go too long. This is why this course is super interesting. We always take driver. You don't need driver on this hole. It's a very, very short hole where you can go 4-iron wedge. But if you do take driver and hit it to pin higher where we are, you're going to have a really interesting wedge shot where they even added this enormous pot bunker that I don't think you can see on camera. So it does make you think about it. I put so much spin on that ball. I purposely played a low-flighted spin. I was talking to my buddy Sean, and Marshall and Al, when they were standing there watching my ball, they said, yeah, didn't bite, just sailed, and I'm now on the fringe in the back. So just one of those days. That's a really, really good shot from Al. I think he puts that to about 8 to 10 feet. So they have a look for birdie, and then here's our look for birdie, which I don't know. If I had to guess, 30, 35 feet, and it's on the fringe. Here's my buddy Sean. So he showed me the line. Yes, it was very short, but I saw everything I needed to see. Mark, why are you hyping that up? Why are you talking about that? There's no way you make this putt, dude. There's no way you make a 35-footer and make Kobe proud. You are so cool, dude. Look at those arms, by the way. I look kind of buff. I have been working out. Looks kind of great. That was a big birdie. Really, really big birdie for the program. So Sean and I are 2 under for the round. Ooh, brutal lip out for Al. That's a brutal one. So we are 2 under, and I was telling you all, anywhere between 1 to 3 under is a very good week, and you're most likely going to win most matches. So a very good week for Sean and I so far. If we can just close out and shoot a 2 under, that would be awesome. But here's the last hole, and you can see I kind of just gave up on the video. No graphics, no tracers, no anything. I'm just going to quickly show you the swing, but this is just a cool hole in general. I wish I showed you there is a huge pond in front of the green that you don't see. So it's all forced carry. There's 2 bunkers long. OB left, OB long, OB right. This is just one of those really, really tricky, quirky holes. You definitely want a rangefinder with slope because this does play downhill from the tee boxes that we're in. So this really is all about distance control. And so playing this course a million times, it's always the same 2 clubs for me based on where the box is. We end up playing my ball, but I hit it really chunky. So we end up shorting on the fringe. My buddy Sean Texas wedges to about 5-6 feet. I try to be really cool and play like a low bump and run and just chunk it again. So maybe we're checked out. Maybe it's over. Anyway, here's a putt for birdie. Wow. Really, really good putt for my buddy Marshall. So Al has a chance to win another hole off us, and this would be big for just point differential purposes. He gives it a pretty good putt, just doesn't turn as much as he thought, which I also thought it would turn as well. So we just need to par this as well, and there'll be no blood. We can move on. Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't worry. I've made these all in the past before. Just found the line, ram it in. Mark, it's no big deal. Go ahead and do it. So let's just move on. Tie the hole. You are the absolute worst. You can see my buddy Al fist pumping over there because they won a hole. Absolutely love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and while I do normally course vlogs, I hope something like this, like a match to switch it up, was enjoyable. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.
We forgot to up